Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of Messrs. Bectors Food Specialities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anup Bector, Promoter and Managing Director. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hello and good evening, everyone. I hope you all are keeping safe and healthy during these times. Today on the call, I'm joined by Mr. Ishan Bector, Whole-Time Director, Mr. Suvir Bector, Whole-Time Director, Mr. Praveen Goyal, Whole-Time Director, and the CFO of the company, Mr. Gurpreet Singh, Chief Marketing Officer, and Mr. Deepak Jain, Head Finance and Corporate Strategy. We have uploaded our investor deck and results highlights on the stock exchanges and the company website. I hope everybody had an opportunity to go through the same. The outbreak of second wave of COVID-19 impacted our business. Many general trade and modern retail stores were closed in April and May, thereby adversely impacting sales. Overcoming these challenges, the company recorded a 12% growth in revenues with accelerated growth in the bakery segment, retail as well as institutional. Business resumed to reasonable levels only from early June 2021, post the relaxation in lockdown restrictions. The company has been doing good in all segments. Coming to segment-wise, our company saw a degrowth in the domestic biscuit segment. Q1 of the last year, we saw growth of over 35% in this category, mainly due to pantry loading and limited availability of other food products during COVID lockdown last year. This year, many general trade and modern retail stores were closed in April and May 2021, thereby adversely impacting distribution and revenues domestically. Buying patterns changed since last year with more options available. If we see this segment from Q1 FY20, it has grown in double digits CAGR. To expand our premium range, we are launching non-stop potato crackers. These will be thin and crispy with a focus on health benefits, as these will be baked and not fried. These will be launched at an MRP of rupees 20 for 75 grams packet. As a strategy going forward, we are expanding the sales of our biscuits by emphasizing on introducing and marketing our premium biscuits, increasing our market share by increasing brand awareness through digital channels and building visibility in retail stores through in-store branding activities. Exports has seen robust growth during Q1 FY22. Our company is one of the leading exporters of biscuits from India, having 12% share of the total exports of biscuits. Approximately 50% of the exports is under our own brand Cremica. Our focus is to increase penetration in select export markets like South, Central, North America, MENA region, Australia, Asia, and increase premiumization of our products there. We are in the process of setting up a subsidiary in UAE to cater to the MENA and African markets better. Coming to bakery division, retail bakery has grown in double digits with a continuous focus on increasing distribution and premiumization of our products. The company is planning to launch roasted garlic sub footlongs at rupees 50 for 150 grams. Roasted garlic sub footlong is in addition to our range of footlong bread offering cafe-like sub sandwich at home. We are one of the few bakery companies in India that can handle fresh, chilled, and frozen products, which enables the company to distribute its products across India with a focus on quality and consistency. The company aims to cater to a wide variety of retail customers by introducing new niche product variants to all our retail customers, such as sub bread, footlong bread, pizzas, garlic bread, with a target to expand distribution network and also increase penetration in Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities. We plan to focus more on digital marketing initiatives such as social media integration, influencer marketing, and content marketing. Institutional bakery sales have also started picking up pace as restaurants have opened for deliveries and dine-ins after relaxation of COVID-19 restrictions. Institutional bakery business grew at a faster rate with a low base of Q1 FY21. We expect this business to resume normalcy in the coming months. We have seen good momentum in the modern trade and e-commerce segment too. We are introducing large and mid-sized packs of existing high-selling products high-selling products based on buying patterns and regional preferences for sale through modern trade. We have started our brand promotions in various e-commerce channels for our biscuits and bakery products and are listed with leading e-commerce platforms in India. During the last quarter, our margins were lower on account of increased raw material, packaging, and logistic costs, and also lower revenues on account of COVID-19. In the last quarter, we took a price increase of approximately 4%, and further price rise shall be coming in the next quarter, and this will help us reach our EBITDA margins of 14 to 15% for the full year. On our capex plans, the company is expanding one bakery line and bread line at Greater Noida in Uttar Pradesh, which will start in Q3 FY22. In line with our discussions during the IPO, the capital raise of 40 crores, which will be utilized for one biscuit line at Rajpura, and commercial production of same shall start from April 22. As we mentioned in our last earning call, to invest in solar energy generation, we are expecting solar plants will be operational from Q3 FY22 onwards, which will help us in reduction of energy cost. Coming to our branding and marketing strategy, we have been marketing across channels to increase our brand awareness through advertising in print media, digital and outdoor promotional campaigns. We have also entered into arrangements with our preferred retail outlets, which will help us in enhancing our brand visibility. We believe that a strong and a recognizable brand is the key strength in our industry, which increases customer confidence and influences purchase decisions. We have developed our recipes and products based on extensive understanding of our key markets for our biscuits and bakery products, with a focus on improving the quality standards. We believe that our focus on quality, our product range, and effective pricing have enabled us to develop strong brand recognition and consumer loyalty in our key domestic and export markets. To end, I would like to thank all the shareholders, our employees, suppliers, and our customers, which have all supported us during this pandemic. With this, I would like to hand over to Mr. Deepak Jain, our Head of Finance and Corporate Strategy, for the financial highlights. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Anup sir. Coming to our Q1 FY22 performance, revenue stood at rupees 226 crore versus rupees 203 crore, registering a growth of 12% on year-on-year basis. Revenue from the biscuit segment have grown by 2% to rupees 144 crore as compared to rupees 141 crore in Q1 FY21. Revenues from the bakery segment have grown by 37% to rupees 69 crore as compared to rupees 50 crore in Q1 FY21. EBITDA has degrown by 15% to rupees 29 crore. During the last quarter, the company has seen increased prices of raw materials, especially palm oil prices, packing materials, which has affected our gross margin. Our EBITDA margin for the quarter stood at 12.9%. Price increase of 4% already taken in Q1 FY22 and further price rise in coming quarters as well as cost efficiency initiatives will help us to reach our EBITDA margin of 14 to 15% for the full year. Profit after tax for the quarter stood at rupees 13 crore versus rupees 16 crore in Q1 FY21. Take margin for the quarter stood at 5.9%. With this, we will now open the floor for question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may please press star, then 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star, then 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star, then 1. The first question is from the line of Alok Shah from Ambit Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello sir. Thank you for the opportunity. I have 2 questions. First is, would it be possible to share biscuit revenue breakup into domestic and exports, and likewise the bakery revenue into own labels and institutional business? I believe we used to share that in the earlier presentations.
Yeah. So, in fact, last time also we had discussed this, and due to reasons which were affecting business, and we had requested our investors that we shall not be sharing individual information. So information shall be available for both the biscuit category and the bakery category, and we shall not be able to dwell on individual information.
Okay. No problem, sir. My second question was on the launch of the potato cracker. Now, most of the biscuit players have launched it. ITC, Britannia, everyone has launched it. But are you trying to hint that this is your start of foray into the wider snacking market, or would you still, this is just one-off and you would still prefer to remain in the biscuit segment? That's it.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, what we have realized is that the product what we are producing is more healthier than biscuit because it is going to be baked, as compared to a snack like a potato chips. So it is baked and it has got a very nice taste to it. And we have, been developing this product for a bit of a long, but yes, definitely the delays took place because of COVID. But for North India, we are amongst the first people because North India is our market where we are going to be launching this product. This product has yet to be launched by a few of these companies in these markets because they are launching it in the other markets. And we definitely believe that biscuit is going to be going in the way going forward with new innovations is going to be coming into a snacking segment, and this product we are launching in 2 flavors. One is the masala cracker and one is a pizza flavor. So these flavors have been picked up from the chips segment, which are the most popular segment. So yes, it could be read as that not that we are moving our interest to the snacking side, but yes, we have options available to also launch healthy snacking options for our customers.
Okay, and just just to follow up on this. So this gets manufactured on the same extruded lines which are there currently, or do you need anything else for this?
This is from our Rajpura line, the imported line which we had put up with an investment pack. So this comes from a biscuit line, not a line. It is from a biscuit line.
Okay. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Digant Haria from GreenEdge Wealth. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. So my question is pertaining to the asset
Haria, if your line is unmuted, please unmute the line from your side and proceed.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So my question is regarding the peak capacity utilization and the asset turns. So what would be what could be our peak revenue when all the capacities which are under construction right now, once they hit on stream and reach full utilization? So that's my question number one. And number two, generally, at the company level, what is the asset turn that you target? For example, if we are investing 100 crores in a plant and machinery, what is the bakery output and what is the biscuit output that we can get out of that 100 crores? So these are two questions that I have.
So, on the total investments and the projects which are in the pipeline, so we have a bread line and a bun line which is under installation, where majority of the money has already been invested, which is around 70 crores of rupees. This is in Greater Noida, and also the 40 crores of investment which we are putting up in the biscuit line in Rajpura. Overall, put together, we are expecting sales of approximately 1,500 crores possibility. And, all these also depend upon how premium products you are making. Like the potato crop cracker, what we make, the margins are going to be higher, but the output is going to be lower. So, as you premiumize your products, your margins become higher, but the output sometimes get lower. So, but as a benchmark, I should say that the total investment which the company is going to be making by till March 22, we shall be able to do a sales of around 1,500 crores. And so I think this is what,
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. I get that. So just on that second question which I had, that, let's say we reach that 1,500 crore number in another 2-3 years, everything goes well and we reach that number. So then the next 100 crores that we invest, what is the kind of output that,
there is no benchmark. Please let me make you understand this. If the line is going to be put in, let me say, I'm giving it as an example, right?
Right.
If I put up a Uttar Pradesh for a biscuit plant, the turnaround could be 3 to 4 times of your investment.
Okay.
You understand the point? If in case bread plant, I put up a bread plant, Indian bread plant, the turnaround could be 3 to 4 times. But if I put a imported bread line where there will be no manpower used, my cost of production will get much lower. Then the investment is higher, but the returns are also higher. So what we are more interested is, how is the the return on capital employed going to be impacting us in the next 4 years? In case, the plant which we are putting up in Greater Noida is going to be run by 3 people. Now, the same plant, if it is run by 150 people, 200 people, every year you are giving the minimum wages are increasing, so efficiencies are going to become an issue. So we are now as a company focusing a lot on premiumization, a lot on automation, which will be a clear-cut winner in the years to come. So initially our investments would be higher, but in the years to come, the benefits will start flowing in a much better way.
Right. So thank you. That is very clear. I get it that we do it on a return on capital basis. And would that number be around 15-18% for us? That any new investments that we do, we at least try for that?
Sir, our ROC numbers, if Mr. Deepak can give a highlight on it, I think we are much above 15% numbers. Deepak, would you be?
Yeah. So because whatever the new investment we made, we always ensure will get the 18 to 20% kind of a ROC.
Right. All right, sir. Thank you so much. That was very clear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Participants who would like to ask questions, please press star, then 1. The next question is from the line of Vineet Mehta from Samiksha Capital. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I just have one question. I need to ask about the bread division. So currently we are only in Mumbai, Delhi and Bangalore. So which other areas have we targeted or are in our future growth plans?
So I'll take this question. The bakery industry for us is doing extremely well. The English Oven brand is being recognized very, very well. So we are contemplating more plants coming in, but yet no decisions have been made. Yes, the way 30% growth and things like that are happening. We definitely would need expansions, but we are waiting. We have a line which is getting commissioned, within the next 2 months or 3 months. And once that is established, we shall be further taking up calls in, opening up more cities. Could be Bombay, further expansion, because Bombay is growing very well for us. Extremely good growth numbers are coming in Bombay. So we shall let you know shortly in case any further locations are opening out.
So we are looking for it, right?
Yeah, we naturally, because if you're going to grow at a 30% pace, you will need to look at it, right? It will not be okay if you don't look at expanding the opportunity which exists for the brand.
Okay, thank you. That's it from my end.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Milind Karmarkar from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
I had a couple of questions. One was on bakery and other was on biscuits. The new product which you are launching, I think it's very similar, or rather most of the others have launched or are launching these potato biscuits. They are very similar to the product by a Bangladeshi company called Pran. I think it's called Potata, and it has become extremely popular. Though price slightly lower than what I can see in our presentation. So just wanted to understand what kind of opportunity you see there, and do we have an advantage? I mean, do we, in the sense, does the biscuit industry in India have an advantage over the Bangladeshi product? Is what I also wanted to know. So that was my first question on biscuits.
So I can first answer the first question, then we can take your second question.
Correct.
So I absolutely agree that the inspiration of the product came to us from the Pran product, which is called Potata. And but our flavorings are very different. Our flavorings are aligned to the Indian taste. Like I mentioned earlier, we have done dusting on it, which is like eating a chip. So the taste of our biscuits is very different, vis-a-vis other companies' taste.
Okay.
And one is a masala and one is a pizza taste. Whereas, the product which is coming from Bangladesh is a potato biscuit, but has a very different offering to the customer.
Right.
And on the price front, the Bangladeshi product is at 25 rupees for 100 grams.
Correct.
We are launching 20 rupees for 75 grams.
75 grams, yeah.
Yeah. So it is the same price. The price point is not different. Why we have done 20 rupees is, in India, 20 rupees is a better price point than 25 rupees. And, your outlet coverage in 20 rupees it becomes much better. So that is the reason why we brought the weight down to 75 grams and at 20 rupees the pack. And on the expectations, India normally, likes to eat snacking during evenings or in between the meals. And we feel snacking is going to be a new experience for us. But what we see from the market, and as you can see the competition, we feel, this product is going to be very well accepted in the market and will definitely give a new dimension to the biscuit business for Cremica.
Okay.
Yeah.
My second question was on the institutional side of the bakery business. because most of the QSRs, I mean, they may be working, but obviously the sales probably would be lower. They are lower. So going forward, once as we have seen that slowly the restrictions are being lifted. So what kind of growth potential do you see on the institutional side of your bakery business?
So on the institutional side, we have seen immense, very good response this time. Even during COVID, their home service, was very good, although the restaurants were shut. So, but however, we have seen extremely good response and coming back to normalcy situation in the month of August. And so we are very close to normalcy. When I talk about normalcy is we shall be shortly, if it continues this way, we shall be touching the numbers of
pre-COVID
1920, and we look forward for good numbers in the QSR business. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, to ask a question, please press star, then 1. The next question is from the line of Joy Shah from Suvidha Investments. Please go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Sir, my questions have been answered, so thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ayaz Motiwala from QRC Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yes. Hi, good evening, sir. Thank you for taking my question.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
I had a question on the biscuit business in particular, and also your own brand bakery as an extension. The opportunity for you is very large in the biscuit as you bring out your market share of 4.5% only in North India, and also your plants are focused there. So there is a bit of a logistic challenge for you to move biscuits all the way to South India that one would expect. But in terms of chipping away some market share or building blocks, so if you could throw some light on what are the measures you are taking to build on your strength of a strong number 2 player in North India and sort of gradually going towards different parts of the country. It would be very helpful to understand that. And is this potato-based biscuit one of your drivers to to the change and movement towards gaining more share?
Okay. So, the company's strategy is very focused approach on premium products. So, the company plans to be a strong player in North India with a clear focus on, increasing distribution and increasing penetration, buying more products in each shop. And so what we call it lines per call, so which were actually earlier lines were around 3 to 4 lines. We have already moved to close to 6 lines per call, but we would like to move ahead. So clear instructions to our team are on increasing distribution, and even during the times when COVID times, when the challenge was there, our people could not visit the market. We have still seen in the quarter 30th June, we have maintained our numbers of total outlets covered, which comes to us as per AC Nielsen. So there is a clear-cut focus for the whole team, to work towards increasing penetration. So when I'm talking about premiumization, that allows us the possibility to take our products to a larger reach. If I talk about valleys, it's very difficult to take them longer because the logistic costs get higher. But on the premium biscuits, it allows us the possibility to reach out. So we are working out on a plan to increase, distribution in other parts of the country. Already plans are under formulation, not yet, finalized. But yes, the plans will be there to become a strong player in North Indian markets. Because what is happening is that, very few companies in India are able to premiumize their products. So today, for us, in our kitty, we have enough premium products in place. And therefore, for us to be a stronger player in North India makes us as an easier platform, because all the work in the plants has already been done, and now it's more about putting the products on the distribution side. And also what we have done is we are working through modern trade, taking our products to pan India operations, and we are working with e-commerce retailers, where we are working with them, and our products have been launched pan India with them. So these are great opportunities, which allow us to be available in pan India. Like Big Basket e-com platform, we have been approved by Big Basket e-com platform with 30 new SKUs pan India. So, this is the work what is happening. So while, the focus is there on North India, but work is also happening pan India to get into, slowly and establish our base through modern trade and through e-retailing.
Sure. So this is very helpful. If I can just sort of delve a little into appreciating the way you've explained it. So in terms of the, you and the team, when you internally, sir, it sounds like achieving, as you said, more lines per call made by the salesperson or the visiting in the existing outlets is more productive, it seems, than the easy wins that one would perceive from far off, thinking that if you were to enter Rajasthan or Gujarat from North India, there is an easy opportunity to tap the first 50,000 outlets or something of that sort. So in that trade-off, it is sounding that you think the existing market, you want to populate it and drive more purchases from the same outlets, as you said, versus getting into thinly spread in more geographies. And over that, you think the online is your other ways to approach it. Is that correct?
No. So North India, when we are looking at 25 lakh outlets, and we are covering approximately 5,50,000, around 5,50,000 outlets, and there are two growth numbers. One is grow your 5,50,000 to another number, and we have already fixed up targets, and those targets the other teams are working on. Second is that the shops, what you are doing, what SKU are selling, we want to increase the number of SKUs on that shop. Yeah. So he's selling four products he's selling for Cremica. We want to take it to 6 products for Cremica. Now that is an opportunity for the existing outlets, and there is an opportunity for increasing our outlets. Now, when I go down to South India, my first route of introducing my product to my customers will be through e-retailers and through modern trade. This is what I was saying. And when you are launching pan India on Big Basket, that gives an a strength of the brand which it has, that Big Basket has approved us for its pan India launch. So that is which we were not ready earlier, but now we are working on it, and we are making ourselves available for this.
Sure. Mr. Bector, the second question that I had, sir, was on your own brand retail bakery business, right? So you are in the what is called the staple sort of white and brown breads, and then you are into highly value-added breads, such as the sub example that you gave for making sub sandwiches at home or otherwise, right? So my question on that, which we have noticed in other parts of Asia, is the possibility of doing sort of micro city level, a bakery operation where it's entirely possible to have a very rapid turnaround with lesser investments on an hub and spoke model kind of thing. So is that something that you will go towards to really drive this the own brand bakery business?
Yeah.
Because that seems to be very promising.
Yeah, Ms. Motiwala, yes, you are absolutely right. Now, we have, if you look at when we launched Bombay, we launched our breads with Bombay with an investment of 2 crores of rupees. Now, at that time, we launched it with 5,000 breads. Today, we are doing 45,000 breads. We probably need more than 1 lakh of bread now, because that's the sort of response what we are looking at, we are getting from Bombay market. Now, we always, our Bangalore bakery is the smaller investment model where we have invested around 8 to 10 crores of rupees. And we have launched all our products from that bakery. So this is clearly, when we invest, we make it, we will invest according to the market, according to the needs, according to, we will not invest money till the time we understand the market. So it is a hub and spoke model for a bakery industry, which is the right way. And when I told you that our company has got the strength that we can do fresh, we can do refrigerated, and we can do frozen. Now, what does that mean is that you do not need to produce every product in the same plant. So some of the products can move from other plants into that plant, which are expensive, which are delicate products, which only need specialized lines to produce. So yes, this is the only way that if you want to grow, you have to first learn the market, understand the market, invest in a smaller manner, and then grow that business to whatever level it needs investment.
Sure. So these are very helpful. And if I can quickly ask you one more question on your export strategy. So you've talked about value added, or you talked about it as in a way premiumization and premium biscuit products. And you highlighted from prospectus to the first call that you did, where your average revenue per kilo for biscuits has been going up both for domestic but more so on the export market, and that has given you these margins. So would you say that your differentiation and your strength is also towards this, if I can call it, the Danish cookie-like packed biscuits versus the more conventional, salted and glucose type of low-end biscuits? What would be the range which would be the driver in the export market, sir?
So, export market today there are different types of export markets. One is a commodity-based export market, which would be available in poorer countries, third world countries, or there is a export market in America, in Australia, or in Europe, or in South Korea, or such markets like Thailand. Now these markets need a lot of certifications, need a lot of standardization in the quality of the product. So today our company is BRC certified. We are US FDA certified. We have plants which are from Europe. We have European lines. We do not have Indian lines where we are using. Most of them depends upon what we need to produce. So our company has today got the capability to produce Danish cookies, to produce crackers, to produce products which we can do for very large retailers worldwide and supply them as an alternate supplier from a European base or from any other base. Now, if I have to supply to Africa, I don't need any certification. I just need a cheap biscuit. But this is not. These are long-term relationships, which we build with them. And we are today a supplier to large retailers like H-E-B, Dollarama, ShopRite in South Africa. So, and they keep, elevating us from one product to another product. So when we launched with H-E-B, the H-E-B is a stores out of Texas. They have around 400 stores. They started with 2 products. Today they're buying Danish cookie tins from us, which they were buying from Europe. So there is a trust which keeps building on, and they are gaining on the price front because India is going to be cheaper than a European manufacturer. So these sort of things keep happening, and it is the infrastructure what our company has created. That we can work with these large retailers, who are very careful and clear about the quality of the product they are selling in their stores. So that is the difference. When somebody had asked me a question, well, how many times you do turnover on your sales? When I talk about a Danish cookie line, my turnover will not be even 2 times. But yes, my margins are going to be much better because the biscuit is selling at 200 rupees a kilo.
Sure.
So, those sort of things make the difference.
Right. And so would you say that it's not price?
Mr. Motiwala, may we request you to come back in the queue for a follow-up, please?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in this conference call, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. For any further questions, you may come back for a follow-up. The next question is from the line of Sameer Gupta from IIFL. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening, sir, and thanks for taking my question. Sir, first question is on your domestic biscuit guidance that you had shared in the previous call, around 6 to 8% growth for FY22. Now, in light of the first quarter gone and all the uncertainties regarding COVID now behind, and assuming that there is no third COVID wave or there will be low impact of third COVID wave. I know it sounds it is a little preposterous to assume, but let's say for the sake of assuming, would you reiterate your guidance, or would you now say that you can do a better run rate on the domestic biscuits front?
On our growth side, we had been very clear that we were targeting a 14% growth on our turnover on the top line for the company, and we had also committed on a 14 to 15% EBITDA levels as a percentage to sales. So the company sticks to that as a percentage of growth, and we do not change the overall growth numbers. Deepak, can you enlarge on that?
Yeah. So coming as Anup sir mentioned that what we will do going forward from this quarter onwards, we'll speak only on the overall company's level number, and our overall company's guidance for the revenue would be in the range of 13 to 14%, which we also thinking from a medium term, let's say 2 to 3 year also around 14 to 15% kind of a growth.
Got it, Deepak.
So we stick to what we had said.
Yes.
Fair, sir. Fair. Sir, second question is on your capex guidance. So on FY22, you mentioned 40 crore for the Rajpura line that is part of the IPO. There will be new lines in Greater Noida on bakery. So anything on the capex guidance for FY22, and also anything budgeted for FY23?
So no, we have not budgeted anything for 23 yet. And for the Noida bakery, Noida bread and bakery bun lines have got delayed due to COVID. And now we are expecting commercial production will start from Q3 FY22. The total investment on these lines was 70 crores. We have invested 55 crores on this line already. So the balance 10 to 15 crores will be invested once the line is commissioned and the payments have to be made. The line has already been installed but yet to be commissioned because of COVID. The people, there was a delay, and the technicians are going to be coming in the first week of September to install, to finally give us the line. So for the Rajpura plant, 40 crores, the IPO money is being spent on putting up the biscuit line. We are expecting the biscuit line to be operational as we had committed 1st of April 2022.
So 40 crore on Rajpura and 15 crore for Greater Noida and some maintenance capex here and there. So around 60-65 crore is a fair number.
Yeah. So, Mr. Gupta, first understand, 70 crores is part of a project which started in 21. So the funds have already been laid out. The funds are already been taken care of. So there is, even the 15 crores has been taken care of. So there is no investments which will be further going in. 15 crores has to be spent. But in case of the 40 crores, this is IPO money which we had received during the IPO. This needs to be invested, and we are going to be putting up this plant out of the 40 crores of rupees.
Got it, sir. And one last question, if I may squeeze in, just a bookkeeping one. So just want to know the direct reach outlet in domestic biscuits and also in branded bakery in Delhi NCR, what is the number of outlets that our product is available in?
So I will tell you about biscuits, and Shan will talk to you about bread. So we continued as per our peri reach. We continue with the same numbers of 200,000 outlets in this quarter. Ended. This was the same number as March 31st, and June 30th we stand at the same numbers. So even during these are 30th June numbers, So effectively in April and May we would not have been able to cover these outlets, but the strike rate on 30th June comes to around 200,000 outlets only. We because of the COVID, the numbers could not be expanded, but going forward we are already working on it to expanding the numbers. For breads, I will ask Ishan to take your call.
Yeah. So hi, good evening. So on the bread side, definitely the number of outlets that sell bread is far smaller. On the bread side also we don't actually get reliable data such as AC Nielsen, etc. But from what we have as in-house tools, we are doing around 13 to 14,000 outlets in Delhi NCR. What we are working on is creating our own distribution management system where we are looking at tracking our sales at the outlet level. So this is a progress that we are doing to be focusing more on our supply chain, and as the system gets 100% implemented in our organization, we'll be able to give you a clearer picture on the exact number of outlets that we do, but as a guidance, it would be around 13 to 14,000.
Thank you, Ishan. Thank you, Anup sir. That's all from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vinod Malviya from Union Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. A couple of questions from my end. So first question, sir, can you just provide your inputs on the PLI scheme? Have you applied for and any other further updates which you can share with them?
So on the PLI, the biscuit division has applied. We are in constant providing them constant information, but we've not yet received any answer from them. We are hopeful that by end of September, that's what they say, we shall be informed on what is the result of the our application.
Okay. And the second question was on the export incentive. Can you help me with the number? What was the export incentive number which you booked in the Q1 of FY22? And what is your view going forward? What kind of export incentives you're looking at?
So, we are currently only booking DFIA in our books, and we are waiting for RODTEP information, which as per the newspapers today should come in tomorrow, and that has not been considered. So only DFIA has been considered in the books, which is approximately around 5%.
5% of exports?
Yeah. FOB.
Okay. And just to get what was the number on a YOY basis? So last quarter, last year.
I will not have this information. I think if you ask this question from, I'll see in case we can answer it to you on a separate note. I will not have this information with me at the moment, but we will surely provide it to you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. That's all from me. Thank you for taking my question.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nidhi Babaria from Dalal & Broacha. Please go ahead.
Hi. All my questions have been answered. Just one small thing. When we talk about premiumization for the company business, how much portion would be from biscuits and how much would be from bakeries? Like the new launches which we are doing, maybe the garlic bread, focaccia, and those kind of things.
So, Nidhi, firstly, when we talk about premiumization, we consider both of these products as separate segments. And when we are talking about biscuits, we always focus that the new launches are happening in the premium side. Like I'll give you an example. We have launched, some months back, in fact, more than 6 months back, we launched the cream biscuit, which was against the premium creams available from our competitors, which very few people are doing, and we have received good success over there. And effectively, we have seen constant growth coming out in the numbers as a percentage on the biscuit side. And, we are very positive that these numbers are just, we have just started because our products are accepted extremely well, and they're continuing on. We are expecting good growth numbers to keep pouring in on the premium side. On the bread side is totally a different thing, and Ishan will be able to take this answer.
Yeah. So on the bread side, we essentially are operating as a premium breads company. Most of our sales again are in the non-white segment. So in that ways, our premiumization is very high because about 75% of our sales is coming in the non-white category. What we are doing is further, pushing the bar, with these new launches, and in fact, our entire campaign is, centered around make delicious meals at home. So whether it is the sub where we are saying make your sub at home, or a burger that you can create amazing products at home. So these are all in the premium category for us, and we have a very, very strong pipeline already in place of what we want to do. So I think with the footlong bread, with some of the new products that we are planning to launch, if they are able to contribute to about 10 to 15% of our top line, I think we would have at least started establishing the category in the way that we would like to.
Okay. And just on a direct reach side, like whenever we add a distributor or any of the new regions we are coming up, like let's say tier 2, tier 3 cities in west or south region, will we start from biscuit regions, or are we going to start from the bakery products?
So these, Nidhi, are absolutely separate businesses. They're independently run businesses, and all our 4 businesses are independent of each other, other than, bakery as especially, because the plants for bakery are separate, different. So the decisions for bakery are taken in light of the needs of the bakery, and for biscuits, it's totally different. So, it is very difficult to say, because if, bakery might need to go to Hyderabad or to Punjab, whereas we might need to go to Madhya Pradesh and Dhar. So, so this is nothing. This is very independent of each other. None of our plants are together. till now. So, both decisions are very separate to, to the needs.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's it from my side.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we take the last question from the line of Harsh Seth from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity. Just a couple of questions. So firstly, on the formalization of sector, both the biscuits and bakery. So I understand that salience of, unorganized sector in both biscuits and perhaps in bakery is much higher. Now with, such sharpen inflation and, the supply chain issues that these smaller players would be facing, do we sense an opportunity, just to fasten our growth? Are we already witnessing that shift happening from unorganized to organized?
Actually, what we're talking about the quarter when there was a lot of insecurity, people were very insecure. Every person in, somebody in that family, extended family, had fallen sick, and especially in North India, in the Delhi market, we had seen a lot of eventualities happening. So there was a lot of caution and, things about it. But yes, your question is absolutely right. During times when, commodity prices have gone up and supply chain issues are there, the challenges to a smaller, weaker player is always going to be much larger than an established player. And yes, we see that. But for us, what we see is that there has been a cost increase. We have been able to partially recover our cost increase, and the balance cost increase we are looking at, recovering in the second quarter and a small amount probably in the third quarter, and we shall be able to, get out of the need for the price rise. Yes, for a smaller company where brand acceptability is a limit, where, is selling on a price point. So, yeah, there are challenges. But currently, if you say, have I faced anything like that? No. But on the bakery side, Ishan can answer if he has a, answer to it.
I'll, definitely what we are seeing is, there is, a growing market for the organized players. And, especially in the bakery side, the unorganized sector has been quite large, almost to the tune of 40%. But what we are seeing is, with the degree of automation, etc., which is coming into the bakery business, with the kind of products that we are sort of creating for the consumer, definitely there is going to be an edge that is going to be created. In fact, even if you see the QSR space, the organized players are benefiting much more than the unorganized players, largely because a lot of the unorganized players had to shut shop. And also, this is, post the pandemic, I think the, salience of a brand is also getting stronger because people want to be associated with, brands that they trust. So I really feel that, as investments are ramping up in both the bakery and the biscuit industry in general, markets definitely should get consolidated, and I think it will be a win for the organized, industry.
Got it. Thanks for such a detailed response. So my second question is, I understand that our focus is on, premiumization, but I believe that rural India still contributes around 50% to our total sales. So my, just wanted to understand what's our strategy to drive penetration in rural India? Are we planning to sell more of, LUPs, low unit packs? And what would be the contribution of these LUPs, to the total scheme of things?
Yeah, so for rural India, we have, evolved our, strategy again, and especially keeping focus into Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan market, where, our our plans have been now clear that for rural India, how super stockists need to be appointed. So we are targeting at smaller towns, where their population is less than a lakh, or 50,000. So where super distributors will be appointed who shall be looking after their market. And that process has already started for us. So our focus, while we continue to premiumize our product, our focus also happens to be on the value side for sure. And rural for the company will surely give us, good numbers going forward. So I think, the focus continues on distribution, on increasing distribution. And when you go to rural areas, we also see, I would like to mention this, that when we make premium products, we also make a premium product in 10 rupees segment.
Right.
So we do not do a premium only in 20 rupees, 30 rupees, 50 rupees. So if the 20 rupees is at a 75 grams, we will have a 37 gram pack, which will give us an extra packaging cost, but it is available for, the rural Indian market. And so that where price points or, lesser denomination money is needed to be spent. So, so the focus is very clear. Although we will reach rural markets, the percentage of premium would be lower than an urban town. But yes, but it will be there. So, so the continuation of focus does not change.
Right.
Like in Punjab market, we do not have super stockists. We cover each and every smaller town. But in Uttar Pradesh, we were earlier appointing their super stockists, but now we have started picking up towns at 50 towns will not be covered by our distributor, but by a super distributor who will be able to cover more villages around him, So that is what is going to be taking place now, and which will help us increase our penetration into the market.
Right. So rural is still around 50%, right?
You're not clear. Can you repeat again?
Rural is still 50% of our business, right?
Yeah. Approximately 50% of our business comes from rural. Yes.
Rural. And so just lastly, I just wanted to understand, export opportunities in bakery, specifically in institutional bakery business. So if we see, sir, the growth prospects for QSR industry in say geographies like Bangladesh or in some other Asia Pacific geographies are as robust as in India. So do we see any, export opportunities? Are we in talks with any of these leading QSR chains?
Currently, no. Currently, it is focus is when we look at, we definitely see export is a possibility, which is, you are very right in your answer. Currently, we are not in any talks with anyone, but yes, for domestic market, we are in very close positions of supplying bakery products to more QSRs and also, probably introducing these products going forward into the local market.
Right. So that was really helpful. So really appreciate very detailed responses to all the questions. So thanks and all the best for future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anup Bector for closing comments.
So thank you everyone for being there with us and listening to our story. We do acknowledge due to COVID, we have not, we could have performed better and we could have increased our distribution. We could have launched the potato biscuit at least by the month of April because that's our target. But due to situations out of our control, we were not able to do so. And also on the EBITDA margins, we have taken a hit, and this is mostly on account of palm oil and other packaging material costs which have gone up. We have recovered 4% of our total costs have been recovered by the company through price increases or weight reductions or cost efficiency programs. And the balance we hope to recover in the quarter 2 and quarter 3. and we're looking for good times ahead. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Messrs. Bectors Food Specialties Limited, that concludes this conference. We thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.